I'm very excited to share one of our next keynotes. This is Marsha and Aiden Aizumi. I have worked with them in the past. I was so excited to work with the two of them again this year. We've been talking throughout the year and just sharing a lot of good stories, and I'm very excited to have them up here today. Aiden and Marsha Aizumi are a mother and son who have devoted their lives to creating a safer, more accepting world for LGBTQ plus community. They have written a book, Two Spirits, One Heart, sharing their journey from shame, sadness, and fear to pride, joy, and gratitude and hope. They're both active in the PFLAG, a national organization supporting LGBTQ plus community, especially parents and allies. Aiden is the president of PFLAG Pasadena, and Marsha is a co-founder of PFLAG San Gabriel Valley and founder of Okaeri, a Japanese LGBTQ plus organization. It is their hope that their story will change hearts and minds, empowering others to be leaders of vision and action. I'm so proud to bring Marsha and Aiden up to the stage now. Please, everyone, welcome Marsha and Aiden.
Yeah. We will get started, and then we'll figure it out. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Maybe just mention what the video
Yeah. There will be a video. My mom and I had the really great opportunity about 10 years ago now to speak at the EDGY conference in 2016. And so there was going to be a little recap video just to fill folks in if folks have not been or were not there. 10 years is a long time. I'd like to think I look exactly the same as I did 10 years ago, but you don't? I think you do. So we're going to kind of get started, and then once that gets queued up, we'll kind of shift and pivot, but we're about going with the flow today, low stress, right? Like we're just going to, we're going to roll with this. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Aiden Aizumi. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I do want to say a really heartfelt thank you to Cameron and to Penny Lane for having us back here. I think that is just really special to come back and reflect on 10 years later, and to be able to do that again with my mom, and to share kind of what's been happening with us and sort of in the community over the last 10 years. Sorry, I covered your thing? No? Okay.
bring my Kleenex.
Oh, maybe your Kleenex is down there. We know a lot's changed in the last 10 years since we were here and speaking at EDGY, and I just wanted to give sort of an overview, not just a personal one, but also just things that have been happening in the community, to acknowledge the changes that have happened, and to see just how we've shown up and changed as advocates in what we do as a mother and son, but as LGBTQ plus advocates in the community. So a little overview. I have a lot of anxiety, so I find having an overview and knowing what's coming is helpful for me, so maybe it's helpful for all of you too. But this is just to catch you all up at first, and we will talk a little bit about things like my mom has learned, and then what are we looking forward to? What is the next thing to come? So let's kind of get you started while I catch you up politically first, because so much has changed. So we know about the time that my mom and I were here last, which was just prior to that, but Laverne Cox was on the cover of Time magazine. That was monumental, right, for trans folks to get that kind of visibility. There was a lot of talk about progress and visibility and mainstreaming trans stories and narratives. And I think for a lot of us, myself, I guess I can speak for myself, I felt like we were kind of going over this hill, like we had really started to make a lot of progress, and that some of the hard stuff was behind us. We know that unfortunately was not the case, and in the last several years we've seen the banning of gender-affirming care. We see now how that's impacted programs like CHLA and other programs across the country, and that we've seen over 500 anti-LGBTQ plus bills brought forward, right, to try to limit our voices and our identities, to erase us, right, from the pages of history. We've seen, things taken away. So rescinding of gender identity as part of Title IX protections, and things like forced outings and book bannings. So I'm a school counselor at a middle school and a high school, and you know, the thought of like my students coming to me and telling me something that only I know because they know this isn't something safe for them at home, and the thought that I might have to turn around and call their parents and tell them that they've shared this with me is, you know, something I never want to have to experience.
So we're going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about us. I look back and I think what an amazing journey this has been, and how it wouldn't have been this way without us deciding to cling to each other, to trust each other, and to love each other, and also to reach out to people that were in the community that could help us. Aiden was that little girl that we adopted, and you know, I thought this was just going to be just such a wonderful life because we had waited so long to have children. Elementary school, Aiden was a tomboy, so he could really be himself because he was good at sports. The guys wanted him. He was really friendly and outgoing, so the girls really liked him too. But then middle school came around. And it was at this time that I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what to do. And so I was lost and I was scared.
And I found myself with the same interest as my friends who were male and all the guys, and then, but only being able to access really spaces with the female students, but not having any interest or connection into the things that they were talking about. And so I felt very isolated. I didn't have a lot of connection to my peers. And I started to struggle a lot with anxiety and with depression. That made it really difficult for me to be at school and to be successful. You know, into middle school, I was fortunate to have an educator in my life that noticed that I was struggling. And so this was my 6th grade math and science teacher, and she took me in and basically made me her permanent, I call it permanent teacher's aide. But she gave me, it was like I got to make so many photocopies. I know how to fix every copy machine. Jams are no problem for me. I can replace the toner probably with my eyes closed. But I had a place then to kind of belong in, a safe place to go to, and she would let me spend that time with her and sort of be helpful to her, but also it gave me a place that I wasn't sort of just on my own and by myself without any connection to my peers. I showed up to high school sort of thinking, all right, this is it. I'm going to meet somebody who's like me and I'll have these friends. And that wasn't really the case for me. My sophomore year in high school, based on the knowledge that I had about gender identity and sexual orientation, and I had zero, basically, information on gender identity. So knowing that at the time I'd grown up my whole life always sort of having crushes on girls, I came out my sophomore year in high school. It's like coming out 1.0, version 1.0. And I came out to my friends and my family, and I said, you know, I think I'm a lesbian. And the school that I went to at the time, you know, my teachers didn't have training and the awareness that that they should have and needed to have. And so my classmates used that opportunity to bully me, to say things to me as I walked down the halls. And because I didn't have a really strong social base and peers that I could connect with, it made it really easy to target me because I was always kind of by myself. In those years after high school, though, is when I really did some soul searching and asking myself, like, what was this missing piece that I felt like was causing me to still not feel quite whole and complete and sort of in alignment with who I was. And so it was in pretty much the years between 18 and 20 that I started to ask questions and talk to people and hear other people's experiences and learn that that my gender identity didn't have to match the sex that I was assigned at birth. And that was like a very new concept to me. And once I had learned that, I had decided that was that missing piece. That was the thing that I needed in my life. And so I did a coming out 2.0, you know, second version's always better anyway. That's why people wait for like the S version of the iPhone, I think. And you work out all the kinks. And I was fortunate that my family was like, okay, like we're on board and let's do this. We have no idea what it means, but let's learn and grow together. And so I'm very appreciative for that, because more often, and considering right now just kind of the shift in the climate, how important that was to my success and being able to be who I am with the support of my family.
So the picture you see right now is Aiden at his 21st birthday. You know, Aiden, he's the funny one. I'll tell you, I'm the crier. So just be prepared. It's going to be a roller coaster here.
We have therapists all over the room. It's okay.
All right, thank you. So anyway, we made it to Aiden's 21st birthday, and as I was preparing this party for him, he confided in me, you know, Mama, I didn't think I was going to make it to the age of 18. And I said, what do you mean, honey? And he said, I thought either I would do something to myself or somebody would do something to me. And of course, I knew that my son was depressed and withdrawn, but I didn't know that he was suicidal. And so when I come to a room of people here that are doing work to help our LGBTQ kids or raising the awareness to help these kids, I'm so grateful, because it was a therapist and there were just 2 educators that really, I think, stood in Aiden's corner was he was struggling and I didn't know what to do. And so I'm so grateful for them, because I believe that he's alive today because they were there for him.
I promise there's like happier stuff. There really is. Washington, D.C. Was sort of my first step into really interacting with the world again. And so when I was invited to go and march in Washington, D.C. in 2009 for marriage equality, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then I thought, maybe I should ask my mom if she'll go with me. So she did, and really for us, that I think was the first time we stood together to do something so public and so sort of, I guess that started that advocacy for us, and really was like, oh my gosh, like look at, we're doing this together. And it felt really good, and it felt really empowering, and I felt the energy of all these people around me, and I just sort of was hooked on that and building that kind of community and space. For my mom, sort of catapulted her into the work that she does now, where she works with PFLAG National as one of their board members, and because of the work that she's been doing since our initial 2009 Washington, D.C. visit, in 2012, she was asked and invited to go to the White House for the Pride reception, and we had the opportunity. So that picture actually is us like waiting to meet President Obama and take a picture with him, and to be able to shake his hand. And so it was really cool for me to experience that with her.
And I realized that my son taught me so much. I never thought that I had a voice that could make a difference. I never thought I could be an advocate. Like when people said to me, you're an advocate, you're an activist, wow. I'd say, no, I'm just a mother who loves her son.
Okay. Those are comfortable chairs, so. I do want to say a real special thanks to David for putting that together and kind of letting us see what the 10 years ago version of us was and the version of us now. I will say I've had many haircut versions since then too, and many more tattoos actually since then. But let's catch you up a little bit personally, because you know the stuff happening out there isn't to me as interesting maybe as some of the personal. So I know it was mentioned in the bio, I took over as president of PFLAG in Pasadena. Sort of by chance, it's become a passion project for me because that's the chapter that my parents went to originally when I came out, that they found the most support in, and I wanted to continue to create a space that other parents could continue having that. And so I took that over, and this is a picture of our family fun day. I named it this family fun day. It was a dream of mine to just do like a casual like dinner. Oop, I almost knocked my own water over. Like just a day for folks to come in and have a meal and to play games and be in community, bring their kids, and for us to just spend that time together. And so this was the one we just had on June 7th this year. and it is our 4th year of doing this event and getting to bring folks together. I mentioned I am a school counselor. This is a very new thing for me. I just took the role of school counselor in February and finished my master's in educational counseling with my credentials. So thank you. It took me a while to kind of figure out the direction I guess I wanted to go. So I talk to students all the time about wanting to know what they want to be when they grow up, and I tell them, like, I still don't know if this is what I'll end up as, you know, for the rest of my life. Like, and it's okay for your dreams to change. I know that I wouldn't be here, though, without people still, right? The message from our video of having supportive spaces and people. I would not be able to stand here and say I graduated without having had access to those supportive spaces, to gender-affirming care, to supportive parents and family. And so I know that that's just still a crucial part of why we're here today, right, is to continue to try to create these spaces and remove barriers for our young folks. My mom and I released a second edition of our book. She added a little, like, what do you call that? Like an epilogue, I guess, to it to catch folks up when it hit its 10-year anniversary, and so she got to update that, and we got to update pictures and just share with folks what had been happening with us. I also want to say I celebrated a 10-year wedding anniversary to my wife, who's sitting right here. She's going to hate me for embarrassing her. So we've been married now for longer than that, but in this last 10 years, we've celebrated our 10-year anniversary. My mom and I have also had the amazing privilege of getting to speak, even through the pandemic, virtually to companies that then sort of led to international connections and work. So we did speak for Subaru of America and Toyota, for Liberty Mutual and a company called Welltower, which had offices in like Europe and Asia and then South America and Canada. I threw this in here, and I don't know if my mom saw my notes, but my parents celebrated a 50-year wedding anniversary. And they're definitely, you know, what helps me, I think, realize, like, the power of just having, like, a really strong connection and partnership with the person that you're married to make it 50 years, you know. And then my mom and I had the opportunity, this is us in a modeling, so I started a modeling career now. We were asked to participate in Equality Fashion Week, and so we got to do that as a mother and son together, so they had us both model for a company called Dapper Boy, so they make kind of gender-neutral clothing. And that was just a really cool, fun experience, something different we'd never done. Honestly, it's really not for me. The runway was wildly intimidating, but I had a blast. And, you know, really though, like, all these things that we've managed to do, I really can't, like, speak more to, like, the power of the support networks that we built. I know that there are educators in my life, mental health clinicians in my life, my doctors and medical providers, my family, who have helped me, you know, break down barriers, to help me access care, to help me speak up and use a voice that I don't have on my own. And that for some of our young folks and our, you know, even our adult, you know, LGBTQ plus folks who are trying to navigate a system right now that is ever changing, we need all the support we can get. And so I know that I wouldn't be able to stand here and say those things and say, like, we've had these amazing experiences without having that support. I'm going to turn it over to my mom to share a little bit about living what she has learned. I'm sorry, I'm gonna move my notes for you.
Okay, thanks. And
I'm gonna stay
put
here.
okay, sounds good.
Okay.
I'm gonna put my stopwatch on. All right.
You're gonna need to get closer to this though.
Okay, I'm trying to be able to see everybody. Like Aiden says, I'm kind of short.
You wanna sit on my shoulders?
No. So I'm going to go my tiptoes. So good afternoon. My name is Marsha Aizumi. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I'm the emotional one. I'm going to tell you from the get-go. So just be prepared. I have my 4 Kleenexes and... But you know, I came here to share my heart. And sometimes when you do that, you get emotional. So Be ready, another roller coaster ride. So I'm going to thank Cameron and Edgy and Penny Lane for this opportunity to come back. It feels so great to be back and see all these people that are still involved and what are amazing allies for LGBTQ individuals, especially during this really difficult time for our country and even for our city. Aiden's talked about a lot of things, you know, our family and what he's doing. So I want to start with something very personal, and I'm going to get very emotional on this. I know, honey. Okay, thank you. So 3 months ago, I was diagnosed with MDS. 15 minutes. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Oh, Cameron says no.
Okay, Cameron says no. So 3 months ago, I was diagnosed with MDS, or pre-leukemia. And on July 1st, I'm going to go in the hospital for a stem cell transplant. And my brother's my donor. And I think, what I want all of you to know is that I share this because my journey in the past with Aiden and also what I see our future, it all ties together. There are silver linings. I mean, my organizations have stepped up with their leaders to take over because I had to take a medical leave of absence. And we're reaching other communities. So anyway, I think there's scary parts, but there's also beautiful parts to this journey, and I hope to talk to you about it a little bit. I think our challenges come in many forms. Thanks, honey. 17 years ago, my challenge was how to support Aiden and to be my true self. Oh, do you want me to use it? Okay. And my family transitioning. Then and now at. Oh, okay. I got to take him everywhere with me. He is my wingman, my whatever you call all those things that are your support.
I just want people to be able to hear your
crying?
story. No, not your crying.
Okay, so, I had moments of worry, anxiety, sadness, and fear back 17 years ago, and of course I do have that now with the way the country is. But I believe that whatever I've focused in on is what I've attracted more of. So I want to share the things that I've done and realize what I did 17 years ago to attract the life that we've created. And I cannot tell you how beautiful our life is today in spite of all that's going on. So I'm going to talk about it from the standpoint of what I call my North Star, which is my guiding light. And my star has 4 pillars: sense of purpose, tabernacle temple, attention, which is my focus, and reaching out for support. I gotta get my speech. Okay, I'm organized now. So I'm going to talk about sense of purpose and tabernacle temple first. And you'll notice star is S-T-A-R, and so I'm starting with the S and the T. So when Aiden came out as transgender, and today as I face my MDS diagnosis, I decided what is going to be my why? What is my purpose? And of course, I love my son, so I wanted to support him. But also, I realized that physically, even though he was going to transition, he was going to be the same person that I raised to be kind, respectful, and want to make a difference in the world. So, and I also did not want to be a silent voice. I wanted to be somebody who stood up visibly for my son, so he knew that no matter what, his mother loved him and would always be there for him. So as a patient of cancer, my why, of course, is I want to live. I feel like I still have so much to give to this movement, and especially to Aiden. I also want to be there for my younger son. So I don't want this to be sad, I just want you to know the truth and where I get my strength and where I get my hope. T stands for Tabernacle Temple. It says Magical Mystery Tour up there. There was a Beatles song, and I always think that what we went through previously and what I'm going through now, there's so many magical moments. But I have to lean into the unknown. And right now, I think we're all leaning into a lot of unknown of what's going on. But I think what's important in the Tabernacle Temple thing is that we all have stories in our head. I had so many stories, but I had to find stories that were going to replace the negative that brought fear and anxiety into my life. So I think for me now, I use images and words. I think one of the things that I really see is that I can be strong, that I can be hopeful. As far as the next one, A, so when Aiden first came out, really, I focused on two things. I wanted to have a good relationship with my son, and so I really focused in on that. And also, I just felt like I wanted to do things that would bring more love and support into our family. So those were words that were really important to me. With my diagnosis right now, I'm using 4 words: love, laughter, gratitude, and joy. And I'm doing everything I can, because if I get stuck in this disease that I have, this disturbance in my body, then I'm going to miss out on all these amazing things. The R is for reaching out for support, and I think being vulnerable in the beginning was very scary. But in order for me not to be alone, I had to be out there, and I had so much support. I mean, there's my family there. My brother, who is on the left side of the screen, kneel down. He's going to be my donor for stem cells. And about 5 or 6 of my family, when they asked us about people that could be donors, 5 or 6 of my family were able to step up. They look for young people because they feel like there's the best chance for stem cell replacement in that situation. So reaching out for support, I think, was really important. And I think that was my North Star, sense of purpose, Tabernacle Temple, reaching out for support and focusing on love, laughter, gratitude, and joy. So one of the parts of gratitude and joy, I do a gratitude journal every night. And I write all the wonderful things that have happened. And of course, I'm going to have all of you in my journal tonight. So thank you so much for giving me this moment to be so grateful. And the other thing, like for laughter and joy, I don't know if any of you know Ted Lasso, but Ted Lasso, I love him so much. I just keep rewinding his things and learning more. And so I want to close my part with some of the Ted Lasso wisdoms that have helped me. So, Ted Lasso wisdoms?
Yeah, I think maybe you can use this.
Oh.
That might have been my fault when I transferred the slides.
Oh, okay. So I can just tell you.
There you go.
Thank you. We've learned to be really flexible and adapt, Otherwise, you worry about it and you think about all kinds of stuff. Like, let me just tell you, I worried because I'm going through chemo and all of that I would look like a skunk because I have this white line here. And before, vanity was like so important. I had to look really good and everything. And so I put this rainbow thing on my head, and I thought, oh my gosh, that looks bad. My husband bought me a hairpiece. That was worse. So anyway, I said, Aiden, I'm just going to come as I am. I'm just going to mention that and, just be. Because we're all about authenticity, right? And I think the most that we can do, we want our kids, we want our families to be as authentic as possible. So really quick, because I know we're running short of time, Ted Lasso wisdoms, be a goldfish. Goldfish is letting go of mistakes, letting go of things, difficult moments, not harboring on them, so that you can be in the present and in the future. So there's many times, especially, they're giving me, they said, don't worry about the time. Okay, but we're going to we're going. Okay, Cameron, the boss said keep going. So, okay. Keep going, okay. So be a goldfish, let go of mistakes, forgive yourself. I've had to tell myself, both as a mother in the past, but also as I go through some difficult moments, with my cancer, like I just have to say, be a goldfish. So maybe that is something that as you go through whatever you're doing with your youth and changes like CHLA and all of those things, be a goldfish. Be curious, not judgmental. I love that because he also said in there, find out before you flip out. So, many times we kind of jump to conclusions about things and flip out, but being judgmental and being curious and asking questions. I love that Jessica was up here giving us more hope about what we can do and other organizations. And so I think, I think that was wonderful. Doing the right thing is never the wrong thing, even when it's hard. Integrity matters. So, yeah, I think people in this room, you're doing the right thing, and you are doing the hard thing many times. But your integrity is inspiring to families, to my son, and to me. So just keep on going. And finally, believe. Sometimes, we need to believe in ourselves. Our kids, our families need to believe in themselves. And so whatever we can do to support that belief, I think for us, I found I just need to surround myself with people that see my greatness, see me as a mother that can do it, and whatever else I can do. And I think surround yourself with people that see you greater than sometimes we see ourselves. So I think that's it. I'm going to transition to Aiden, and we're going to talk about some of the things we're looking forward. But I hope those pillars, STAR, that you remember that. And maybe when you come into a difficult time, you can say, oh, maybe this is what I need to do to pull me up to be stronger, to have hope and impossibilities. And we're going to have our email address at the end. And so please, if you have any questions about any of this, just email me. I may take a little bit of time to respond, but I will definitely read every email, and I respond as soon as I can.
All right. So, I know that for me, I think that the most helpful thing right now is looking forward. And so there's just a couple things in looking towards the future. The queer and trans youth that I work with through PFLAG and just in my daily job now are definitely bold and unapologetic. And they are creating their own spaces and language and communities when places that they have normally been accessing are disappearing. And so I think our role as adults in their lives is to continue to support them in that venture, to follow their lead and what it is that their needs are, and to make room for their voices in spaces that they are, losing access to. And we definitely have to keep fighting. In these last few years, and really realistically in the last 6 months, we've seen how quickly progress and the things that we've fought for have been rolled back or been taken away. And I feel like that's why it's exhausting to the same thing. It feels exhausting, but I think it's important that we stay engaged and we try our best to fight, continue to fight, and show up, even if it's hard or it feels uncomfortable. And I know for some folks, maybe this is the first time you've had this conversation, or this is a new topic for you to really dive into, and it's going to be uncomfortable, but we just need your presence and your continued effort in that fight. And progress is not linear. It's gonna go all over the place. Change is not going to follow a straight path, which is sort of funny since this is like LGBTQ things. It's not going to follow a straight path. But every step forward that we make, even if it is small, is going to help us continue to build that foundation towards creating lasting change. And then for me, I know this work has always been personal, right? It is my lived experience, but it has also been a collective effort, right, of our communities. And it's something that I think I realized, like, yes, my story is one story out of many. And so whether you are a parent or an educator, a social worker, a therapist, an ally, your actions matter, and they support folks like myself and the young folks that you all are working with. So we do all have a role to play in it, and the way forward is definitely together. We definitely can't do everything, but we can do something, right? We know that we have limited time, limited access to resources, and that can be really overwhelming too, just with the constant changing landscape. And we're not expected to fix everything. We can start exactly where we're at just by supporting that one student or one youth to speak up at a meeting, to make one space that we have access to safer, and to make those small impacts, especially when they're done consistently, are going to make lasting change for our youth. So we have some call to action requests for you all. I'm gonna have my mom start with this first one. I took your thing?
Got my speech right here.
Your speech is here.
No,
Oh, I took your speech. My apologies.
okay. So I'm going to do the
You
first.
have this.
Oh, yes. I'm going to do the first one. Start where you are. You don't have to be an expert to make a difference. You just have to start. Start by listening. Start by believing young people when they tell you who you are. Start by showing up in your school, your workplace, your dinner table conversations. It begins with people who are willing to speak up even when it's uncomfortable. Aiden, you told me when I started advocacy, Mama, you're going to do this work, you're going to have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And actually, I told him, who would want to do that? I was like, I'm an Asian mother, I don't want to be out there, I don't want to rock the boat, I don't want to do any of that. But I started with where I was. And then gradually, I started to build. And I think we have a lot of people in the room, if we all do one little thing. There's a story about the 100 monkey. I don't know if you've heard it. Oh, you've heard the 100 monkey. Yeah, and I don't know if I get the story right, but you can chime in. But it was a monkey in an island, and he started to wash his food. And monkeys in his village saw this, and they started washing their food because it tastes better, right? But the phenomenal thing was all the monkeys on this island all of a sudden started washing their food. And the other phenomenal piece was there were monkeys on other islands that started washing their food. And I think what that says is there's a consciousness, there's a tipping point, there's a place where there's so much energy coming together, there's a manifestation that reaches other people, kind of like almost divine intervention, or, just magically. So just start where you're at.
The next one is to move from ally to accomplice. And I, for a long time, have felt like allyship in general takes action, right? It is not a passive endeavor. And so I feel like allies, though, are supportive and they show solidarity to LGBTQ folks and a cause. But an accomplice is willing then to work towards dismantling oppressive systems and spaces at the risk to their own, maybe it's reputation or to their title or what people might think about them. And so I'm asking you to look at how you support LGBTQ plus folks when they're not in the room, when no one is looking and no one is watching. How are you actively working towards creating safer spaces and inclusive spaces for folks like myself and the folks that we work with? The third point is don't wait. And for the perfect moment, don't wait and act now. There isn't going to be a perfect point to like jump on this moving train. And so the right time could have been yesterday, but the next best time is right now. So if you can get started now with those little acts, whether that is showing up to school board meetings or speaking out to donate to youth organizations that are continuing this work to fill in these gaps where now we're losing access to resources. If you're working in a school setting, to be able to advocate for queer voices and queer curriculum to be continued to be available to our students. It's, again, not about doing it all, right? It's about doing something, though, not just sitting and waiting for the right moment to come through.
So finally, be the adult you needed or wished you had. If you're not sure what that looks like, just think back when you were younger. What would you have wanted from an adult when you were scared? When you were questioning, when you were lonely? Be that person. Be the one who helps someone feel seen, heard, and valued. It matters more than you think. Once again, really listen. I know you're all in this field with your good listeners, but I had to learn this because I wanted to fix things. You know, when people would tell me and be in distress, I wanted to fix it. But I learned sometimes they just need us to listen. And so now I try to listen very deeply, and then at the end I say, is there anything I can do to support you? Sometimes they say, no, just listening meant so much to me. Sometimes they said, yes, this is what we need to do. So, yeah, it does make a difference as an adult, how we show up. Aiden had a teacher at the University of Laverne who had a poster on his door, and Aiden knew he was LGBTQ affirming. And because of that poster, Aiden went to that instructor, and now 6 years later, you've been doing those speaking?
12 years.
12 years? Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Oh my gosh. So 12 years later, yes, he's now speaking in educational classes at least twice a year. And he's helping educators to understand what they need to be when a person is transgender or LGBTQ. So that's all I have, honey. Do you have anything you want to add?
Our contact information. No, I do have a few things to just close us out. So 10 years is a long time, and I know we've learned a lot in the 10 years that we've continued to be very active in the community, but we're still learning, right? This isn't something that just stops. That learning, I guess, never ends, right? I'm a lifelong learner because that's like a University of Laverne thing. That's like a pillar, I guess. But we've also seen in our journey and in these last 10 years, when people choose connection over silence and courage over comfort, the power that has in impacting our young folks and our LGBTQ, friends and community members' lives. So I kind of want to leave you with this as we kind of continue throughout the rest of the day and we leave this space, just to continue to keep showing up. For the youth that you're working with, the people out in our communities, for your neighbors, because, be the one that listens and who affirms our young folks, and be the one who stays and continues to fight along their side. You don't have to have all the answers. I know I definitely don't, and I learn all the time from my middle school and high school kids. It's very humbling working with them. But someone out there is still trying to decide whether this is a safe enough space and world for them, and if this is a place that they're going to be authentically themselves and be affirmed and seen. And so I just hope that we can do this collectively together, and let's make it so that they don't have to wonder anymore, that they just know that this is these are people and these are community spaces that they have access to and that they can feel safe in and seen and heard, and we'll just continue forward together. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, everybody can hear me? Oh, cool. I'm going to quickly put up the, push the next slide.
Yes.